Buildings, parks and roads forgotten. The majority of our South African towns seem beyond repair. But we believe that there is hope. Join us in Rural Makeover as we take you on an up-close and personal journey to various places where people are making our country better. One community at a time. Please watch the first episode of From Dust to Dreams on this channel if you haven't already done so, because that is the introduction episode to this program called Rural Makeover. In that first episode, I explained how we formed the Senekal and Community Forum 4 years ago. Also, please subscribe to our channel and tick the notification button. The purpose of Rural Makeover is to inspire residents from every community in South Africa to take hands with your local government in order to make a difference, even if the progress is slow or if the progress is really small. Take Senekal for an example. 4 years after we started the work, I really believe our town is better off. The spiral is going upwards instead of downwards, and that is your first goal, is stop the downward spiral in your own town and make sure that spiral is going upwards. We want to be real and authentic in Rural Makeover, and that's why we'll honestly share our experience as we continue, not only in Senekal, but in many other towns around the country where people have taken initiative. By that I mean things like, for instance, in Senekal. I wish I could say that the entire community got behind this initiative, but it's not true. It's only a small percentage of people that really got involved to make a difference. Most of the people actually just didn't do anything. They were just sitting on the sidelines, while a large percentage of people actually actively opposed us. They opposed us from the left and they opposed us from the right, and quite often we were either too white or we were too black in our initiative. But you know what, we're not going to stop. We'll continue to try our utmost best, because we're not doing this for those people sitting on the couches at home. We're actually doing it to make our towns better. Rural Makeover has two parts to it. On the one side, we have this weekly television show, and on the other side, we've got a very practical part of it with a group of mentors that have taken hands in order to help any town in South Africa who wants to start a similar initiative to this. They will be your mentors, and we'll be introducing you to them later on in this episode. You will notice that we often have discussions in Rural Makeover instead of merely showing you before and afters of the physical things like cleaning and fixing potholes. That is because we believe that you should also focus on the social aspects of a town. I too often hear of towns where there's one section of the community fixing things like potholes, but they do not address some of the other important issues like the relationships in town. Take Senekal as an example. In Senekal, the process actually started with prayer, which means it's the spiritual side of things. Then it went over to the social side of things with black and white people taking hands, and then only came the physical things like fixing the potholes and cleaning and things like that. And I believe that is the important part of how a town makeover should look like.
so this isn't that Petrus Manyatso, but he's also Maruti. He's a pastor, a reverend. He's got his own congregation here. And we've been working together for the last 4 years. He's also on the committee of the Senekal and Community Forum. And he's also the chief in charge of the taxi association for the Eastern Free State, for the whole Thabo Mufutsunyana district. He's in charge. Do you think we made a difference when we started?
Yes, we made a difference, because everywhere it was dirty. And then the more important thing is that we built a friendship between the blacks and the white people. So that is
I think that, to me, that's so important, because in so many towns, people talk about service delivery and the potholes. But in Senekal, I think the biggest success was that black and white did it together.
Yes, we did it together. We had a project there where we used to work. We had a schedule that maybe Tuesday, once a week, we used to clean our town and our township together. And that thing, it was a very good thing. And plus, we were together when we were cleaning up the swimming pool in the Frans. And that project was a big project, and you managed to make it. And then as a community forum, we were happy to have that such things. So today I take the opportunity to fix the pothole myself with a few volunteers, 2 of them. So I'm enjoying this. Thank you very much.
Sort of 3 years down the line in Senekal, we started focusing more on the process and the sustainability of what a town makeover should look like. But in the first 2 years in Senekal, we really focused a lot on short-term projects. Like for instance, on one day, John Cronje from Nutri-Groen and his workers, along with about 200 volunteers, cleaned more or less 20 tons of rubble from Matuabeng.
Morning, we have another cleanup day in Senekal, Matuabeng, this morning in Matuabeng. We've got a number of different people helping to clean up. Thanks again to Nutri-Groen and the Cronje family for making all of the equipment available.
On another occasion in Matuabeng, hundreds of volunteers helped to paint street signs, pick up litter, and even graded the sports fields. Tabata and his team fixed over 5,000 potholes in year 1, and then we became a lot more ambitious. With the help of a Bloemfontein businessman, Gotso May, and his company actually donated all of the expertise, the workforce, and the material, we decided to fix one entire road. It was such an interesting process. At first we had to grade the road, and that's where a local farmer, Pieter Heinz, and his dad Jan actually sponsored the grader. They sponsored their own time. Jan was actually on the grader for days on end to help and grade the road when we started this process. And then we had to level the road, we had to compact it, and then tar the road. And it was a bit of a challenge because we also had a lot of rain during that time. But within about 2 weeks, we had a brand new road. Now I wish I could say that that road today is perfect. That was about 2 years ago. The reality though is that the road is now also full of potholes that we have to regularly fix. And there's only one reason for it, is the road was built for smaller vehicles like cars to travel on it, not for heavy trucks. There's actually a sign on there that says no vehicles heavier than 10 tons, but the truck drivers ignore it. And that's one major problem we have in the small towns, is I believe that certain roads were built for trucks to drive on, while others were not built for trucks to drive on it. And if truck drivers just ignore that, or if it doesn't get policed, then there will always be potholes. You can fix a pothole today, but 2 weeks down the line, that same pothole will be ripped open again if trucks drive over it. So we've actually been communicating with the local government, asking them for solutions, like we are suggesting barriers that would physically stop heavy trucks to get onto those roads. And we're still waiting for feedback. We'll keep you updated with this process. But I think this is an important aspect for every town, because most towns in South Africa suffer with potholes, and this would be one good solution. In a future episode, we will show you in detail how we fixed the town swimming pool in Senekal after it was closed for 33 years. Now, part of the being real part is also showing you the challenges with the swimming pool, because as I'm speaking to you today, we have a problem with our swimming pool in Senekal. It's currently closed. So it's now part of our phase 2 of the swimming pool. And how do we get that problem fixed so that we can open up the town swimming pool in a much bigger and better way than what we did it last year? We'll keep you up to date with that. An important aspect for us in Senekal is actually that our executive mayor and our municipal manager share our passion to make our towns better. They really believe in PPP, that is private-public participation, and that makes it great to work with them.
Over the years, I've realized that government alone cannot sustain the infrastructure that they have. So it's important to have public-private partnership, because with public-private partnership, you are able to instill again a culture to say this property, it might have done or been built by government, but it's not for government, it's a community. So partnership with community, sustain infrastructure, and making sure that the community too, they have an infrastructure that lasts long for them to be able to use. We can make something better out of the small town. And what I like most about the small town is inclusivity. People know each other. People is able to assist one another. It's easy for the economy to circulate in a small town like Matuabeng, Senekal.
To prove my point that our executive mayor, municipal manager and their teams are on the right track, we now have a fully functional wastewater treatment plant in Senekal. And apparently we are one of only a handful of Free State towns that can say this. I filmed this footage at the official handover from the contractors to the executive mayor of Setsotho.
This is very important for us. After we started a project, complete it, we need to hand over the project to the community so that they can know that the project was started, it was even completed within the record time, within its own budget. So we are proud to say today, this wastewater treatment plant behind me, it was started in 2023, it has been completed today within the record time, and also the extra work was done and there's no additional budget that was put into it.
It is probably the first successful wastewater treatment plant project that during certainly the last 5 to 10 years in the Free State, and it's taken a lead. And here is a plant that was dysfunctional, and the contract finished in time, below budget, and with success. Thanks to a great construction team, Tech Revere and their consultants, and with the help of the Setsotho municipal officials.
Well, initially when we started the project, it was quite dilapidated. And our initial aim, apart from the initial scope of work, was to identify areas where we can save. And what we did is we identified that we can refurbish a lot of the equipment. And in alignment with the engineer and the municipality, we decided to refurb a lot of the equipment, and then we invested the rest of the money into the access, and safe access and manageable access. As Mr. Makeover noted, initially that was a big problem here, is to maintain the plant.
But we've got a vision where we can provide clean and safe and pure water directly from the tap. And a part of that vision is where a wastewater treatment plant like this, instead of being a wastewater treatment plant, we're going to want to be called a resource recovery facility. Because previously this raw sewage that's coming in here was going straight to the river. What we're doing now, with the biological process, all this wastewater is going to be cleaned for future use. It's going to the river. It'll be a beautiful ecosystem. The sludge from the ponds, that again can be recovered and used as fertilizer, organic fertilizer. And it's just a pleasure to work with a municipality that actually appreciates what is involved in a plant like this and works with you to try and get the best value for money out of the process. So the engineers and the municipality must really be commended for how they manage this project and to see the vision of clean water coming out here in the end.
Even though this is wonderful progress, there are still two major challenges to address. There are not enough qualified staff in the municipality to maintain this new plant, and unfortunately, it seems that many of the current staff do not pitch up for work like they should. The executive mayor has now been made aware of this problem, and she promises to sort it out. The second major problem is that not enough sewage ends up in the plant. This plant is a living organism and it needs a certain amount of sewage to function. I spent some time with the contractors after the handover and showed them one place right next to our film studio where sewage is streaming into our river. The contractors are of the opinion that this problem could be easily solved by checking the sewage system between us and the new plant for blockages. If those blockages are cleaned, the leakage should stop and then more sewage will reach the plant, which will solve that problem as well as clean our rivers. I have seen firsthand how sewage leaks into the rivers of just about every town in the Free State. Let us know if you know of leaks in your town and let's compile a list. It would be great to look back a year from now and see less leaks into our rivers.
In the first 2 years, where as community members we did a lot of the cleaning in Senekal, the mayor now have campaigns where she keeps the towns clean. There are 4 towns under her and she keeps the towns clean. So we do not have to do the cleaning anymore. We can focus on some of the other stuff. I want to introduce you to our town makeover mentor, Andre in Kroonstad. But before we go across to him, just a quick word about our sponsor, Rural Maintenance. Without their financial support, Rural Makeover would not be possible. Rural Maintenance is a highly efficient company that provides affordable and reliable electricity to communities throughout Southern Africa. We will feature their amazing work in the Mafubi municipality in future episodes when we visit the town of Frankfurt.
Because the work that we were doing in Senekal attracted so much media attention, social media and mainstream media, many people from other towns contacted us and were asking advice and were asking us to help in their towns. And at the same time, I discovered there were many other towns where there were groups of volunteers already working, and in many cases far more advanced than what we are doing here in Senekal. And if you're in a town and you want to make a difference, you don't know how and you need some advice, contact us. And the wonderful thing that has happened in the process is I met a guy called Andre van Pletzen, who's the chairperson of Ignite and Revive Kroonstad. Now, Andre is so well organized and so experienced in this that we've decided to force him into the position of mentor for rural makeover. In other words, town makeovers in the rural areas where people want to make a difference. And Andre is our person. He's the one who's going to be mentoring us and giving us advice. So let's pop over to Kroonstad and go and meet Andre. So fortunately, as we drove into Kroonstad, I immediately spotted Andre on his ride-on lawnmower. So Kroonstad won Town of the Year, Kwela's Town of the Year for South Africa in the year 2022.
Kroonstad is situated on the N1, almost halfway between Bloemfontein and Johannesburg. The central business district is built around the main Dutch Reformed Church, where you can see a statue of the Voortrekker leader and preacher Sarel Silje. Opposite the statue is the interior shop, a family business co-managed by Andre van Pletzen, his wife Mimi and his daughter Megan. This family does so much more than merely running their business. Every year they train and empower scores of interns, and they sacrifice a large portion of their time to make Kroonstad and our country better.
Kroonstad has been successful in making a plan. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail.
What is Ignite and Revive Kroonstad?
Ignite and Revive Kroonstad started in 2016. Where we came to a point where our town ran dry without water. We had a provincial road project running through town that messed up our town. Businesses were losing millions. And on top of that, the town was in flames, with residents being unhappy about the state and condition of our town. And tires were burning, there were riots in town, and a group of us came together and decided enough is enough. And we started Ignite and Revive Kroonstad.
So Ignite and Revive is an NPO, NGO?
NPC. Non-profit company registered as Ignite and Revive Our Country.
Okay.
Which is beautiful for our vision.
Yeah. And the vision is the whole country as opposed to only Kroonstad.
Yes, we believe in save a town, and together we can save a country.
Fantastic. Andre, we're going to be popping back to Kroonstad every week from now on, and we're going to learn more about your entire team. It's as in many towns, it takes one person to lead the group, but you're really fortunate, and I've met your team. You've got a really fantastic team. It's not only Andre, so that's really important to know. We're here speaking to Andre today, but he's got a team of wonderful people, and we'll get to know the team in the next few weeks. Yes. Just very shortly in this first episode, tell us what were some of your success stories in Kroonstad?
What we did is when we started cleanup projects, we had at one cleanup project, the previous mayor, Mpho Energy Tsakane, pitching up and helping us. And then we sold the idea of adopt a traffic island and circle project to him, which he passed through as a council resolution. And today we most probably the only town in South Africa where an MPC has a council resolution and businesses can adopt traffic islands and circles, and then obviously parks like the one we're standing in, and clean it, maintain it, and advertise for free. And that caught the whole country's attention. That was really impressive. General cleanups on the entrances of your town to make an impression immediately and give people hope. and then the Adopt a Traffic Island and Circle project. That was very special and helped us a lot.
Yeah. So we're in Africa and we're working in Africa. There are flies around.
Yeah.
We haven't seen any mosquitoes here yet. You were also instrumental in helping 3 schools unite into one. We're going to get more detail about that later, but why was that important?
The core of our plan is if you want to save a country town, especially a country town, because you lose feet in your town. People and big businesses leave your town. As your town deteriorates and people lose hope, feet leave your town. So one of the key words that we use to motivate, we have 5 of them and we can discuss them all, but the first one is feet. So you've got to stop the outflow of feet out of your town. You've got to bring back the old inflow of feet, and then you've got to create a new inflow of feet.
In other words, decentralization.
Yes.
Get out of the big cities back to the towns.
Amen.
Yeah, so that and we want to hear more about how you got that right in future episodes. One of the key things, though, in getting people from the cities back to town is you need to ensure the infrastructure works, that there's internet and those the key essential services need to be there. Otherwise, they don't want to be there and you can't do business.
Yeah. 100%. And just coming back to the schools, we realized that we had 2 primary schools and 2 secondary schools that were, the one was on 50% capacity, the other on 60%. And other schools like the Grey Colleges and Oranje Meisie School and Unisi and different schools in the surrounding areas, good schools, were drawing our children. And we were losing our children going to these towns. And then obviously you lose the feet and you lose everything else with that, all the spending power and everything. So the schools to amalgamate was very important to keep the feet in town. And then to play a role in to bring the old feet from all the surrounding small towns back to Kroonstad and fill up the school hostels like in the past. So the schools amalgamation, we initiated the process, and then after that there were 12 brave men that pushed this process through, which was very difficult, but they succeeded.
I'm really impressed. You on the lawnmower. So that's not just for the camera. That's what you actually do from time to time.
Yeah, last Saturday we did a cleanup and we did the whole other section of the park because this park is very big. But what's very impressive is, and people don't understand this, you only need a handful of people to make a difference. A handful of people to make a visible difference that will immediately make an impact, immediately create attention and give people hope. And that's why this is part of the South Road entrance that brings in the whole Natal and Eastern Free State, and then the Southern Free State and the Cape that comes into town via the South Road entrance. And this whole park over here, Ignite and Revive has adopted. And last Saturday we did the cleanup on the big section on the park, and now we're continuing on this section of the park. Just a nice testimony. The other side of the road is also a big park. One businessman, Soti Wentworth, and his son Rico Wentworth of Quantum Field Services, they maintain that. When you come in from the Bethlehem side, Stansrus, the Eastern Free State, there is on the left-hand side of the town entrance, the right-hand side, and then the whole section for 2-3 kilometers down to the N1 is one man, De Twee Moster, doing it. So if you look at this whole South Road entrance, there are 3 businesses involved doing it. So you don't need 100 people to dolly up the entrance of your town.
But you need a business per area or an individual per area to take responsibility and do it.
Amen.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, many people around the country ask this, so why are you doing the job of the municipality? They are paid for it, and we want to discuss it. We're not going to discuss it today,
yes,
okay, because that's a longer discussion. But we've become passionate about working together with municipality.
Yes.
Now in Senekal, we're fortunate. We work together with our local municipality really well. Get on well with the mayor, get on well with the municipal manager. In other towns, it's not necessarily the case. Some towns, it's like 50% the case, some 20, some better. So we want to come back to that partnership with the municipality, because we don't obviously want to do it isolated or fighting each other. Really important part. So we want to come back and learn more about that. We're not going to do it in this episode. This is just the appetizer, so that our community all over South Africa will also be inspired to do what Andre and them does. Now, what's unique about Andre
is that he's incredibly well organized, and he's got a heart for other towns as well, not just Kroonstad. Not to take over, no political ambitions, right?
I mean,
No, but you don't have any political ambitions at all.
yeah, and no people in a political position
Yeah.
cannot join our MPC.
Exactly, yeah.
Because you want nothing to do with
so
politics.
You want to work together with the politicians, obviously, but you
Yes.
don't want to be a politician inside this organization.
100%.
And you are open to mentor other towns, and that's part of your heart. But you're a businessman. You've
Yes.
got your own company to run, which takes a lot of your time and effort because that's where you earn an income. This is voluntary. You don't get paid to do this. This is giving back to the community.
True.
Now, what I've asked Andre, actually I forced him, I didn't ask him to do, is to be a mentor for other towns as part of our Rural Makeover program. So I'm the one with a big mouth, I can speak, I get on camera, I film it, and we get it to you as our community online. But Andre is the guy who's so well organized that he's going to be mentoring each town who wants a mentor. Not every town wants. Some towns are really well organized in themselves. They don't need outside people to help. But many towns do ask advice. And not just towns outside the Western Cape, by the way. There are many towns even in the Western Cape asking help. There are no perfect towns and there are no perfect cities, not even Cape Town. We lived there for 20 years. Cape Town's got its challenges. It's got beautiful parts, but it's also got challenges, right?
I mean, yeah, we have a lot of towns that have already made contact with us. We've helped many towns and advised them, like we won 2022, we did Town of the Year. 2023, Delmas won. We were mentors to them. And then Albert of Heidelberg that won this year, we helped him as well. And he even acknowledged that on national TV. So it's not rocket science. It's basics. And we do help towns, many towns, on a daily basis. We're in contact with many towns throughout South Africa, helping them, and we can see the results. But what's very special, Frans, over here, is these towns, they testify that we're the inspiration. You go to the whole Tidy Towns group in Natal, Stephen Herbst and Reg Horn that started it. When I met Stephen, he said, you are our inspiration. And I said to him, no, sir, you are our inspiration. Because these towns now inspire us to keep going. Because it's not easy. We mustn't bluff each other and say this is easy and a walk in the park. It's not.
And we want to talk about the not so easy.
Yes.
Because in most towns where I go around and you speak to people who are involved, we learn that people are burnt out, they're tired, and it's usually a handful of people making the difference with a whole gallery of people criticizing.
Yes.
And we want to try and get more of the gallery on roll-up sleeves and work together. So Andre, you're fine. You're in to meet with us every week and to help us.
100%. Yeah, I'm geared up. I'm excited because I believe that the time has come, and where everybody is realizing you can't just sit back and do nothing. You've got to take responsibility of your town, of your street, your neighborhood, your town, your district, your province, because this is my town, this is my country, this is my pride. I love my country. I'm staying here. I'm not leaving. And what we've proven is GNU must still prove they work. This is a bottom-up approach with unity and community, and we've proven that it does work, and that's why we believe save a town, and together let's save our country.
Absolutely. And with all of that, that was such a nice introduction into every week that we have Rural Makeover. We're going to end off with a bit of a discussion that I'm crossing over to our studio in Johannesburg, where we're going to be discussing that principle that you're talking about. You and me are passionate about South Africa.
I mean,
we've got three choices. The first one is we can fight, and there's been a lot of fighting over the last 600 years in South Africa. We can flee, we can go and live in Australia or England where they don't play rugby.
Or can't play rugby.
Even in New Zealand they don't play much rugby. So we play rugby. Okay, or the third choice is we can unite. We can take hands. And I'm excited about the GNU. You mentioned the GNU.
Yes.
I'm excited about it. Yes, they still have to prove the model works, but I think it was of God. I think it was an answer to prayer.
Towns where amazing things already happened that we will be visiting in the next few weeks include Tabanshu, Frankfurt, Clarence, Burgersdorp and Parys.